Hey everyone, we're back out here in the shop trying to answer all the questions that you guys are sending in. And I want to touch on a few things tonight that I think we take for granted. You know, as a professional angler, I think we just kind of maybe assume that everybody knows how to fish. And I've had some questions pop up, you know, on my Facebook that I just want to take a minute and try to answer, try to help out. You know, I've had some questions about, hey, I got a kid or some kids that are that I'm wanting to start getting into fishing. How do I do that? What's the best approach? How do I go about that? You know, is it better to try bass, crappie, bluegill, catfish, whatever that may be? And I'm just going to touch with you what I think is the simplest, funnest way, the easiest way to go out to the lake, the farm pond, whatever that may be, and catch fish, or maybe to introduce a new fisherman into fishing. You know, when you go to the lake, it's all about having fun, you know, and it makes it so much easier if you go to the lake and you can catch fish. And like I said, doesn't matter what it is, doesn't matter how big of a fish it is, but as long as that kid's getting a bite, you can keep him interested. You know, they have a short attention span, and they can get bored really, really fast. You know, I got two young kids that I've introduced to the fishing, just like my father did to me years and years ago. But what I'm trying to get at here is don't try and force it on them, you know. Make it fun. Fill you up a cooler, a mammoth cooler, and take it to the lake. Make sure it's got plenty of drinks, plenty of snacks in it. But what we're going to show you here right now is the simplest, easiest way to rig up a fishing pole to go to the lake and catch bluegill, crappie, bass, whatever you want to try to catch. This is going to be the simplest way. Here it is. Simple outfit. We got to say, lose laser light, just a little ultralight rod and reel. And that's truly all you need. If you're not comfortable using a spinning rod, get you a push button style reel. Okay, this has probably got 4 or 6 pound test line on it. You don't need big giant heavy line. Look, you could catch 10-pound catfish on this. It'd take you a little time to land him, but if you fight that fish well enough, you're going to catch him on this. And this rod is perfect for a kid. Okay, we're simply just going to show you tonight. Like I said, I think a lot of us take for granted that people just assume how to fish. So we're simply going to show you, what I'm going to show you is what I think is the simplest rig to go to the lake and catch fish with. First, we want to start out with a bobber stop, okay? And it's simply a stop that you adjust to adjust the depth of your bait. You know, how far you're going to have that worm, night crawler, wax worm away from that bobber, okay? So this is the very first thing that you're going to want to put on. And it's very simple. You slide your line through this little wire. Okay, just like that, and pull the bobber stop off onto the line. All right, you see that bobber stop's on the line. Okay, and that'll adjust up and down the line. You just slide it up and down the line. Okay, the next thing that goes on is going to be your bobber. Okay, there's a ton of bobbers out there, slip bobbers, little red and white bobbers, clip-on bobbers, but to me the slip bobber is the best choice, and I'll show you why after this gets completely rigged. Okay, so simply the next step is take that line, if I can see it, slide it through the bobber until your tag end comes out, just like that. As you can see, this is why it's called a slip bobber, because it slides up and down the line. Okay, now when it gets to that bobber stop, it's going to stop. Okay, next thing we're going to do is we're going to tie a hook on. So come in here close so I can show you the simplest knot to tie a hook on. Okay, you're going to want to get you a small hook. Okay, another little important tip here is get you a hook that has a long shank, you know, like a number 1 or a number 2. But this long shank is very important when you're fishing for panfish, bluegills, and crappies, because a lot of times those fish tend to get that hook down in their throat pretty deep, and this long shank is going to help you be able to remove that hook easier. Okay, we're going to show you a knot here to tie that I think is the simplest knot. It's called a trilene knot. Okay, stick the line through the eye of the hook, twist it about 6 or 8 times. 6, okay? So basically you've twisted it 6 or 8 times, and right at the top of the hook, you're gonna have a little loop, okay? You stick the tag into your line, right through that little loop, okay? And then when you do that, it's gonna make another loop. Stick that tag in back through that loop, pull everything down tight, okay? Trim off your tag end. Okay, that's the simplest knot to learn, the simplest knot. You're not going to have to worry about breaking it on panfish and crappie and things like that. Okay, the next thing you're going to want to do is add a split shot sinker to this. Okay, Depending on how big your bobber is going to depend on how big of a sinker you use. You don't want to use enough weight that's going to sink that bobber, okay? So simply take that split shot, okay, just like that. It's just a little lead split shot. Slide it on the line. Get you a pair of pliers and crimp it down, just like that, okay? So there's your rig, okay? Hook, sinker, slip bobber, bobber stop, okay? And you might ask yourself, well, why do I want to use a slip bobber when I could use a clip-on bobber or a red and white bobber and whatever that may be, okay? And here's why, okay? If you got a clip bobber on here, okay, and it's clipped on the line, and let's just say you're fishing 3 foot deep and the bobber's way up here, okay? When your little one goes to cast, he's going to have a bobber way up here and all this line down here, okay? So when he goes to cast that, it's going to be really hard for him to cast, okay? So simply by using a slip bobber, we can reel this bobber all the way up to the end of the rod, and it's going to make it a lot easier for him to cast, okay? The next thing that you want to do when you get there, or before you get there, is determine which kind of bait you want to use, okay? To me, there's about 3 choices when you go to the lake, to the farm pond. You got night crawlers, wax worms, and minnows, okay? Those would be my 3 choices for the kids. Simple, everything that swims in the lake is going to eat one of those 3, okay? So remember that. You know, like I said, I think us as professional anglers, we take for granted that people know how to do this. And there's a lot of people out there that maybe have never seen this rig before. But like I said, if you want to introduce a young one to fishing, you want to take them to the lake and have a lot of fun, get you a little ultralight, get you a slip bobber rig, get you some night crawlers or wax worms, maybe even some minnows, head to the pond. Like I said, make it fun and you'll hook them for life.